All right, so of course I start my screencast and the landscapers are outside, so sorry for the noise. All right, so I'm going to show you the glow effect, and I'm also going to show you the liquify tool. So the glow effect works the best when the area is dark, because when you think about something that's glowing, it's usually glowing in the dark. So if you wanted to use it in a more purposeful way, I would use the glow tool when you have an image that's a lot darker and you wanted to make it look like something's glowing from like a lantern or a light or something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill my background black, and you can do this as well. You could literally copy exactly what I do. I don't think this is in view of my screen, but you can go to Edit up top and then go to Fill. What Fill will do is it will fill your whatever layer you're on with a certain color. So right now, if I do Edit Fill, it's going to fill my background with whatever color I choose. So if I go to Contents and I go to Color, I can actually click on the word color, and the color picker will pop up, and I can actually change the color on the color picker. Or I can very easily just make it black or white or 50% gray. So you have a lot of options here, but I'm going to make it maybe like a dark navy. Okay, and I'm going to hit OK, and you can see that it filled my entire background in like in a color. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a shape to make glow within my image. So using the shape tool, all right, which we have not gone over, and I don't think that Mr. Billy went over this with you in class, but I will go over it with you in this assignment. So using the shape tool, I'm going to click on my shape, and I'm going to, you can see when you hold it down, there's a lot of different shapes that pop up. So I'm going to just choose an ellipse, all right, and I'm just going to make an oval. Right, and you can see on my layer bar, it's making a separate layer, and it's called Ellipse 1. And you can see that turquoise circle inside of this little layer picture or thumbnail. You can change that color by going to the top of your screen, and you can see fill. Again, fill in this sense means to fill the shape, just like you filled the picture in your background. So I can change the color of this shape if I wanted to by going to Fill. Maybe I'll make it, I don't know, doesn't really matter. I'll make it blue. I can also create an outline on it. So right now my outline is pink, and it's hard to see because you can kind of see it because it's a small line. That stroke means outline. But if I wanted to make that outline bigger, right next to the stroke tab, there's the a tab to change the weight or how thick or thin that line is. So if I pull the tab up, it's going to make that line thicker or thinner. So you can see I just made a shape there that's outlined. Now if I didn't want the shape to be outlined, I can click on the tab and then go to this little icon here that says no color, and it's going to get rid of that outline. I can also have a shape that's filled with no color but has an outline, and I can take away that as well, right? But I want it to have color, so I'm going to give it color. So we created this shape, and I'm going to create a glow effect around this shape for you to play around with. All right, so I don't know how Mr. Billy went over glow with you, but one way that you can create an effective glow would be going to the top of your screen and going to Layer. And under Layer, you have Layer Styles. Okay, and I don't know if he went over Layer Styles with you, but there's a lot to choose from. There's Bevel and Emboss. Stroke is an outline. This is to make something look like it's either sunken into an object or popping out of. You have Shadow, Glow. You can make something look like satin, a gradient, a pattern. So there's a lot going on here. You can create an inner glow, or you can create an outer glow. So let's say I wanted to create an outer glow on my image. All right, right now it's not really showing anything. And right now my blend mode's on screen. I'm going to change it to normal for now and see what happens here. So I can up the opacity. The more I up the opacity, you can see that that glow is starting to come through. Opacity would be how thick or thin, I'm sorry, how transparent something is. So if it's opaque, you can't see through it. But if the more you take away, the more transparent it's going to get. Noise will create like little dots, and you can't really see it right now because if we scroll down to the next area of elements, you have spread. Spread will and size will make that glow a lot bigger. And what noise will do is it'll create like little pixels or dots. So you see how that kind of changes it, right? If you want it to be softer, you would pull it all the way to the left. If you want it to be more pixelated, you would pull it to the right. Opacity is going to lighten that glow a little bit. You can play around with the technique. So one would be more precise, one would be softer. You can change the color of the glow. So if you click on this little tab here, the color picker, right now it's completely white. But let's say I wanted it to be like more of a blue glow to go along with this blue background. You can do something like that. So with the color picker, when you go to drag it over to the paper, you can pick up that specific color. And that's what I did, to just then grab whatever lighter value I wanted from here. And then there's quality, so you can kind of change the type of shape of glow that's being created. Right, I'm going to keep mine like a general one. Range will change the intensity, I guess, of it. So the more you pull it to the left, the stronger that line, that glow line becomes, where the more you pull to the right, the softer it becomes. Jitter will make something similar to like the noise, right? So it creates more of a noise around it. So you can kind of play around with all of the different custom tools for that glow. So that would be the first tool. So that's your glow. And you can, I'm having you create a shape and then create a glow around that shape. But you can create a glow around any object that's in your picture. What you can also try doing is layer, layer, style, and go to inner glow. I'm not going to do this, but you can look and experiment with what happens when you have a glow coming from the inside of an object. All right. So the next tool that I'm going to go over with you is your liquify. Your liquify tool can be found under filter. All right. So if you go to filter, liquify, it will pull up. Okay, so right now it's asking me to convert this shape. So when I created my shape, it's a shape layer. So it's asking if I want to convert it to a smart object or if I want to rasterize it. If I'm going to go and rasterize it, so when I go to rasterize my shape, you'll notice that I'm just pulling this tab down. The liquify tab came up, but it got rid of that little icon that was on the bottom right of my layer thumbnail, and it's now become like an object within the file, right? So it's no longer a shape anymore. I can actually like distort it and change it. So the liquify tool has many different parts to it. All right, so I'm just going to go through a few, and you can just kind of have fun with it. The first one is kind of like a smudge, like almost think about like if you drew with like chalk pastel and you use your finger to smudge the pastel outward. You can take your tool and kind of smudge things, right? And I'm using just a simple shape for this, but you can use all different types of pictures using the liquify tool. And notice that I made my my paintbrush bigger. So the bigger you make it, the more it will push, where the smaller you make it, the less it will push, right? I just wanted to go over some of these with you too. So, okay, so these are kind of fun. This one will twirl something. It's doing it really slowly. I don't know why it's doing it so slowly, but you can see you can create like a twirl effect. This one is pucker. So this one will, I believe, kind of squeeze it or shrink it. This one will make it bigger. All right. So there's a lot of just different, you know, tools that you can use. I believe this one will kind of erase it back to normal, right? That's what Mr. Billy taught you. So you can kind of play around with all of them. I mean, they're good tool. This is a good tool to know and understand. So now you can see if I hit OK, it's going to change the shape of my ellipse, and it's going to now be this abstract shape that's glowing. To show you, you know, maybe a better example of how maybe you can use some of these liquify tools as well. If I were going to use like a photograph and use liquify, right? I'm going to rasterize this. Hold on. You want to make sure you're on the correct layer. Okay. And I were to zoom in. Let's say I wanted to, you know, like those cards that they have with the dogs that have like the distorted eyes, like they're really bug-eyed, and then they make like their body really small. Those cards use tools like this to create those distortions. So, you know, for instance, if I wanted to, I feel like you could probably have, I don't know why it's not letting me make my paintbrush bigger. Oh, my paintbrush is really, really big right now. That's probably why, because I have it zoomed in so far. All right, hold on. See, my paintbrush is really big. Okay. So, you know, pucker, if I wanted to like make his mouth smaller, right? Now you probably know what I'm talking about. Maybe I wanted to make her eyes a lot bigger. You know, just a fun little tool to use to distort some of your objects. So anyway, so what I'd like to see from you right now, okay, for this assignment is that you create a glow effect on some sort of an object. You can even copy exactly what I did. And then just you could put a liquify filter on top of it. You could do something similar to what I did just to show me that you understand these tools. I hope this is helpful, and if you have any other questions, let me know.